believe I said it was cracked and missing pieces.
Do you know that, or are you guessing?
I'm not guessing.
Okay. Do you remember that specifically?
I remember describing it.
A heated cross-examination as the Karen Read retrial got back underway today after a day off yesterday. Jennifer McCabe, a key witness for the prosecution, wrapped up her testimony. She was on the stand for 3 days in total, and during it, she was grilled by defense attorney Alan Jackson. You just saw some of that there. We have team coverage for you tonight. Our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell, will have the biggest takeaways from McCabe's testimony and the week. Sue, we'll get to you in just a moment. But first, let's start with our Michael Rosenfield. He is live for us outside the courthouse in Dedham with more on the contentious back and forth during testimony today. Michael?
Well, Colton, she was there when John O'Keefe's body was found, so she instantly became a very important witness in this case, both in the first trial and now in this retrial.
This court is now open. You may be seated.
3 days on the stand, coming to an end Friday afternoon. Jen McCabe's testimony concluding with some tense exchanges with Karen Read's defense attorney, Alan Jackson.
I'm just trying to answer the questions and be truthful as I can.
Jackson asked McCabe why she didn't run inside 34 Fairview to get help from her brother-in-law, who's a police officer, after John O'Keefe's body was found in the snow outside the house.
I never thought about going in the house. I just thought, how can I help John?
Jackson asked McCabe why she wasn't worried about the safety of her sister and brother-in-law inside the home, given that a dead body was just found on the lawn. Jackson intimating McCabe knew they were okay because they'd been involved in O'Keefe's death.
I was not worried at all because something happened on the front lawn that had nothing to do with anything inside that house.
Karen Read is accused of backing into O'Keefe with her car in front of the home and leaving him to die in the snow. Her attorneys say O'Keefe was beaten by people inside the house and Read is being framed. Jackson asked McCabe about a series of text messages in the hours and days following John O'Keefe's death.
Were you and your family coordinating your versions of the events that occurred on that morning?
No.
McCabe was asked about the infamous Google search on her phone about how long it takes to die in the cold. McCabe says Read asked her to Google it after the body was found.
Karen Read did ask me to do the search, yes.
But Read's attorneys say the Google search was done at 2:27 in the morning, hours before the gruesome discovery, and an indication McCabe knew O'Keefe was in the yard all along.
You will agree that there was a Google search done, and now I'm going to ask about the content of Hoslong to Die in Cold, correct?
That was done in the morning at the request of Miss Read.
Over the next couple of weeks, we're expected to hear from everybody else inside the home at 34 Fairview that night and what they saw or didn't see outside the house. We're live at the courthouse in Dedham. Michael Rosenfield, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, we want to continue our coverage for you tonight with our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell. Sue, I feel like you're staying up late with this. You've been covering this thing from every possible angle. We appreciate you being here tonight.
You're welcome.
Well, let's get into the three big takeaways from this past week. So first up, Sue, I want to dive into the digital forensics expert. His guy's name is Ian Whiffen. He testified that the controversial Hoslong to Die in Cold Google search that we've all seen, he says it happened closer to 6 in the morning. However, the defense, they're poking some holes in this, claiming that it was at 2:27 in the morning. Is that timeline reliable given the information he presented in court? And do those location circles on John O'Keefe's phone data and the temperature of the battery as well, does that support the idea that he went into the house that night?
So, Colton, if the jurors are anything like me or you, they're going to have to wait to hear from the defense's expert about that Google search to make up their minds. Because, like me or you and just about anybody watching, you probably have never given a thought to how an open tab on your Safari browser on your iPhone would impact a timestamp on a search that you made. And that's even if you thought about timestamps on your searches. I never have, right? So that's going to have to be something that they're going to deliberate about. And as far as the location of John O'Keefe's phone, GPS is not an exact science down to the inch, right? So there is a possibility, based on the Commonwealth's expert, that he may have been in the house, but it is a slim one.
Now, did they test the temperature of the battery? Was that ever?
They did, but they also didn't use the outside temperature as a control, so that information may be a wash.
Well, I want to get into something that Michael mentioned in his story just a second ago. Obviously, Jen McCabe back on the stand. Now, the defense pointed out some major inconsistencies, including McCabe saying that she can't remember her prior sworn testimony. How credible does that make her this time around?
Colton, one of the biggest mysteries to me in this case this time around is why can't Jen McCabe just answer a basic, easy, simple question with a basic, easy answer? It took her 12 minutes for her to confirm digital data from her phone that both the prosecutor and the defense agreed on that showed the times of her text and how it corresponded to her looking out the window at Fairview. And then it took another 12 plus minutes later for her to confirm her prior sworn testimony in a police interview. I don't know why.
Right.
Why?
Well, real quick before we let you go tonight,
Yeah.
McCabe says Karen Reed told her to Google how long to die in the cold, which we know came out as Haas long, while Karen is claiming that McCabe is sort of the quarterback. That's what she said today, leaving court, of this entire sort of alleged cover-up that the defense is saying. What's your take? What do you think the jurors are going to believe here?
Colton, I'll tell you, we were immersed in this here, right? So it was very interesting to me to watch some of the jurors' faces as they began to put together the narrative that Alan Jackson has been presenting to them for the defense. So some seemed surprised. They had one woman just put her hand over her mouth. And last week we had Kerry Roberts' testimony. We found that she had misrepresented what she heard or didn't hear. And today the jurors watched that dash cam video looking for where Reed said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And then we heard her text portraying McCabe as a grieving friend. So the jurors are just going to have to weigh all this information, and they're going to ultimately have to decide who they believe.
Yeah. All right, Sue, as always, thank you. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. And you at home, make sure that you follow Sue on social media. It is at Sue NBC Boston. Continue to stay with our team here at NBC 10 Boston. They're going to continue to provide in-depth coverage of this trial. Tune into Canton Confidential, the Karen Reed murder trial, every weeknight at 7 for a recap and legal analysis.